Tonight on KGW News, tensions boil over at a Portland school board meeting.
This shouldn't even be on the table. It should be choice.
Students are the ones sitting in class all day. We need to be protected.
As protesters speak out against a vaccine mandate, and Oregon lawmakers get an F over their new legislative map. Plus,
we are in sort of an eating disorder crisis.
Eating disorders among teens take a big jump during the pandemic. The signs parents need to watch for. Your news starts now. And first tonight, a big decision under discussion at a heated Portland school board meeting. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. The board is weighing whether or not to require students 12 and up to get the COVID vaccine. But the meeting had to abruptly switch to online only when several people in the crowd refused to wear a mask. Alma McCarty spoke with students, parents, and the district tonight. Alma?
The Portland School District says 62% of people that provided written feedback on the mandate support it. But it was the louder voices against the mandate that derailed some discussion tonight.
Even before Portland Public Schools' Board of Education meeting began, tension was high. Some tried to refuse masks at the door, others brought signs. There was at least one heated discussion turned disagreement over the possible student vaccine mandate inside the meeting room. We spoke with parent Sonia Fentish early in the evening.
I personally don't care if people get vaccinated or not. I think if you want to get vaccinated, that's great. If you want to vaccinate your kids, great, do it. I support that. But that's the whole point, is that it's choice. And also the fact that we have these exemptions in Oregon, this shouldn't even be on the table. It should be choice.
Her comments and the comments of several others did not make it in front of the board, at least not in person.
It's ended before it began.
We had visitors in attendance who were not complying with the state mandate of masks, and therefore the Board of Education chairwoman, Michelle DePaz, asked folks to put on their mask, and folks refused.
All right, we're going to suspend the meeting, and we'll move to a virtual location. We can't put everyone at risk. Thank you.
You are cowards! I will not sit down. I won't comply. You guys are cowards.
It's upsetting because the parents are here. The parents were the ones who ended the meeting tonight, and the students are just here to talk. We want to have a discussion.
Xander Levine is a senior at Lincoln High School.
Students are the ones sitting in class all day. We need to be protected. We need to be safe, and a vaccine mandate would help us.
Tuesday morning, at least 200 students who feel the same way in support of a mandate staged a walkout at Grant High School. The discussion among the board restarted later Tuesday night.
Good evening. I want to welcome the board, superintendent, staff, families, students, and guests.
After hearing from a few people through virtual public comment, leaders considered the feedback from the listening sessions held last week. Those on all sides of this recommendation hope the rocky start to the evening didn't hinder the ongoing conversation surrounding a vaccine mandate for students.
I think the important thing is to hear the commentary of the public.
The virtual portion of the school board meeting just wrapped up. The majority of the board expressed support for a mandate, but there's been no vote yet. They still have a lot of questions about how it would be implemented and what type of exemptions would be allowed. The board decided to move back the vote until November 16th.
Thank you, Alma. And here are 3 things to know about the COVID vaccine tonight. An FDA advisory panel voted to back the use of the Pfizer vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. It's a first step toward getting shots into arms as early as next month. Pfizer's own data shows its child-sized doses are more than 90% effective at preventing symptomatic infection. However, a recent poll shows only 30% of parents plan to get their kids vaccinated right away. A lot of people are now eligible for booster shots, and to keep up with demand, Lane County is bringing back mass vaccination sites. People will be able to get the vaccine at 6 different locations across the county this week. The boosters are being offered at pharmacies and clinics around the state, but in some areas, appointments are booking up fast. Today, Oregon Governor Kate Brown got her booster shot. The governor first got a Johnson & Johnson vaccine, in part to show everyone it was safe and worked. But since then, studies revealed while the vaccine worked very well, it was the least effective of the 3. So today, the governor got a Moderna booster. New at 11, doctors are warning parents about a growing health concern among kids during the pandemic. Reports of eating disorders have increased significantly. Catherine Cook talked with a doctor about the signs, parents, and what parents can do.
The pandemic has changed so many things: the way we work and learn, who we see, and what we can and can't do. Doctors believe the stress from it all is impacting kids and teens in an alarming way.
We are in sort of an eating disorder crisis.
Dr. Nicole Hinckley-Hines is a pediatrician with Kaiser Permanente Northwest.
With the anxiety that they feel about the world around them. And so they turn to things that they can control, including their diet and exercise.
But not in a healthy way. Just this year, she's seen a 25 to 30% increase in children referred to their eating disorder program, be it for anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating.
There are backlogs all over the city and all over the state to reach appropriate care for this.
Cases are up nationally, too. A recent study surveyed 80 healthcare organizations and more than 22,000 patients ages 12 to 18. They found a 25% increase in eating disorders since the pandemic began. Among girls, hospitalizations for eating disorders were up 30%.
This is the mental health disorder with the highest mortality rate. So above depression, above suicidality.
For that reason, doctors, including Hinckley-Hines, are asking parents to watch for signs of disordered eating in kids. Things like refusing to eat at the table with family, preparing food for others that they don't eat, wearing baggy clothes, eating or exercising in their room, sneaking food out of the kitchen, and overusing social media. To help, doctors suggest parents limit phone and Wi-Fi access at night, no phones at mealtime, provide 3 meals and 2 to 3 snacks per day for kids, model healthy eating, and don't talk about dieting. Hinckley-Hines says if you suspect your child might need help, call their pediatrician. The sooner the better.
It's not often you get a diagnosis of an eating disorder and boom, you have to be in a residential care facility. There are many, many, many options before that.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
A vintage shop has sued its neighbor for a fire that happened in Southeast Portland earlier this month. You may remember this video of the fire that burned down Really Good Stuff, along with several other shops on Hawthorne. That was on October 5th. On Friday, the owner of Really Good Stuff, Evan Schlaze, sued neighboring furniture shop Lounge Lizard for what happened because he believes the fire started in the ventilator system of Lounge Lizard. Portland fire investigators have not released a cause of the fire. We've reached out to the owner of Lounge Lizard for comment, but have not yet heard back. In developing news, investigators are looking into a suspicious death in the Lloyd district. A man was found dead along Northeast Lloyd Boulevard and 11th Avenue. Police were initially sent there for a welfare check call. The investigation suggests he died under suspicious circumstances. We're now waiting on an autopsy to learn more. There are new details in a shooting that left 2 people dead in Old Town. According to court documents, the shooter, 45-year-old Michael Van Dommelen, told police voices in his head told him to shoot the victims. He also admitted to using meth earlier in the day. The shooting happened early Sunday morning at an apartment building on Northwest 6th Avenue. These 2 deaths mark the 71st and 72nd homicides in Portland, surpassing the record of 70 in 1987. Remember last month when state lawmakers were fighting over how to draw Oregon's new congressional districts? Well, they did come up with a plan, but how fair is it? Maggie Vespa dug into that question tonight on The Story.
The Princeton Gerrymandering Project just analyzed Oregon's new map, and they gave our state an F grade in terms of partisan fairness.
Well, it's a little complicated. So Oregon got an F because of the combination of its map not being fair to Republicans in the state of Oregon and the fact that there weren't enough competitive districts. And the way that we determined that was we have a computer program that generates 1 million maps using an algorithm, and it does so by taking into consideration Oregon's political geography. So it thinks about where folks are located, takes into consideration the various criteria that map drawers have to comply with when they're drawing the lines, and then says, what would the expected partisan outcomes of this 1 million maps be? And it uses a bar chart to do that.
So to get an A grade, Adam says that Oregon should have created a 4-2 delegation with 4 Democrat-leaning districts and 2 Republican-leaning districts. Instead, this is the map that Oregon lawmakers came up with. It has 1 Republican district instead of 2. Then it has a swing district and then 4 Democrat districts. It's also worth noting the Princeton gerrymandering project has been giving a lot of states Fs on these maps. And they say the states that are getting better grades are those that have put the district mapping process in the hands of citizen commissions.
So it does sort of suggest that when you take out the political actors from the process, that you can get fairer maps.
Speaking of that, a group called People, Not Politicians is trying to get an initiative on Oregon's 2022 ballot to create an independent redistricting commission. And that means that lawmakers would not be involved anymore at all. Right now, they're working to gather signatures.